I have heard various rumors about this sale, and I don't know exactly what it means. Today I read this book right here, Batman Deadpool. I watched Thinking Critical's video on this. He did not like the book. I did like it. I thought it was decent. Nothing groundbreaking. It was a good run. Deadpool, spoilers ahead, shows up in Gotham City and he shows up at Wayne Manor. Of course, breaks through a window, is talking to Bruce Wayne, asking him some questions. The humor that you get is classic Deadpool humor, which is one of the reasons why I did mind it. I actually laughed at some points. Now, I know Thinking Critical is not a huge fan of Zeb Wells, and I get it. Legitimate criticisms. But I did think this story actually fit Deadpool. Double cross story, nothing shocking or out of the ordinary. Deadpool shows up to Gotham. He's hunting for Batman, doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman. You find out in the midst of all of this that Joker actually hired Deadpool. Of course, he tries to, Joker being who the Joker is, he double crosses Deadpool, and Deadpool at some point double crosses Joker as well. But anyway, he pumps Deadpool full of Joker venom. You kind of get, a little bit of laughs out of that. And ultimately it ends with Batman getting upper hand. What I liked about the story is I always say this. You put Batman up against anyone and Batman will have the upper hand. And it's amazing to me that all of the writers that I have seen pick up the mantle to write Batman, they all seem to get this. And they seem to do it well. They understand. I think there's like a general reverence across the board amongst fans and professionals that look, Batman is the man. No matter what the situation, it's either going to have to be him coming up on top or it's going to be a draw, because who's going to defeat Batman? Like that just, I don't know. I don't, that doesn't sit well for me. The idea of Batman being defeated by some, maybe it's just me. You know my love for Batman. With that said, let's get into this story right here from cosmicbook.news. Batman Returns. DC sale could bring back Nolan, Goyer, Bale on The Dark Knight. Now, when I saw that title, I was like, I don't know what this means. What do they mean by bring these people back? Are they talking about a reboot where this comes back to prominence? That would be crazy. With Warner Bros. Discovery heading towards sale and studios like Skydance, Paramount, Netflix, Apple, and Amazon in the mix. Yo, I didn't realize all of these companies were in the mix. Amazon? Wow. And Apple? Apple has the capital. Apple has the capital to buy Warner Brothers. That would be crazy. Anyway, it's not just Zack Snyder fans who might be paying attention. A potential sale could open the door for another return. The team behind the Dark Knight trilogy, writer David S. Goyer, recently spoke with Brandon Davis and confirmed that, like Christian Bale, he'd only return to Batman under one condition: if director Christopher Nolan did too. I understand. When you have a formula that works, you do not change the formula. You let it do what it do. In the interview, Davis mentioned how Bale told him at the Thor: Love and Thunder press junket that he would only reprise his Batman role if Nolan decided to come back. Goyer confirmed he felt the same way. Quote, if Chris called me up and said, I have an idea to do another, would I absolutely consider it? 100%, said Goyer, but also made it clear that The Dark Knight Rises was meant to be the definitive end of the story. With the final scene, Bruce nodding to Alfred in Italy, being the very first thing Nolan and Goyer came up with when developing the third movie. I didn't know that. Zack Snyder, I'm not gonna get into that. In talking about the scene, Goyer also appears to confirm that the scene wasn't a dream sequence. Goyer added the emotional closing moment in The Dark Knight Rises was designed to wrap Bruce Wayne's arc, according to Goyer. We thought, oh, that's a story worth telling. We had no idea what the rest of the movie was, but we had the end. I've heard a lot of writers actually do that. Like they have an idea of how they want to wrap a story up, and they might actually have the full end of the story before they ever get to the actual meat and potatoes of what's going on in the story. I don't understand that, but I guess if I was a writer, I probably would understand that more. Still, Goyer admitted the idea of undoing that ending would be a big swing, agreeing with Davis, who said, "What a gamble it would be. I mean, an insane gamble." While Goyer didn't pitch any story ideas, the two speculated about a far future return, maybe something like Kingdom Come, featuring older versions of the character. It was even said by Davis that maybe 30 years from now, they could do a movie with Christian Bale and Henry Cavill, though Davis admitted he had no idea what that would even look like. That would be insane. I don't know. I'm not positive that would work, especially at that. But 30 years, how old would Christian Bale be? In his 70s or something like that? 60s? I don't know about that one. Similar to the Dark Knight trilogy, Goyer added that he is really interested to see what they do with Iron Man in Marvel's Avengers Doomsday, as Tony Stark was killed off at the end of Avengers Endgame, and Robert Downey is being brought back. Now, if the rumors from the other video I did about what could possibly come into Avengers is true, then I could see them bringing back Tony Stark. I could easily see them doing that, somehow working it out where there's some other variant of Doom that comes after Avengers Doomsday. Tony Stark returns, and now you have this other version of Doom. I don't know how they would work that out, and I don't know if they would actually do that, but I could see it working. Regardless, if Nolan ever did come up with a fresh take to continue the Dark Knight films, Bale and Goyer are ready to pick up the phone. This just goes to show, I don't think actors are necessarily always worried about being typecasted. I know that's said a lot, and I hear that a lot, but I also think some actors just don't want to fall into the trap of working with a director, a producer that may not make a good movie, and they trust Nolan. So they're like, yo, if Nolan is in, we're in. If Nolan is not in on this, we don't want nothing to do with it. They're back. Regardless, the Dark Knight, Goyer, maybe a new studio with big bucks behind it could make it happen. I think so. I think they could make it happen if they expanded and went with something like the Court of Owls story or something like that. I mean, I know I'm dreaming, but anyway, I think I would come back for a well done Christian Bale Batman movie. Whether we will ever get that or not remains to be seen. But this sale and all of the different players that are involved in this, can you imagine if Apple bought Warner Brothers? Man, oh man, what would that mean?